A few weeks ago, I picked up a hardback in a charity shop. Hardback book. Nothing special, bestseller list, very common. A little bit damaged, the sort of thing 10 years ago that would be sitting in a charity shop for $1.99. And you'd buy it without even thinking about it. I turned it over and it was £7. £7 for a second-hand hardback. And then I had one of those moments where you realise something has changed. Not just in the shops, not just with the books, the entire charity shop experience and ecosystem. Now, before anyone starts sharpening their pitchforks in the comments, I love charity shops. I buy from them, I donate to them. Go for it. I spent years digging through dusty shelves looking for forgotten paperbacks, weird history books, old fantasy novels, and the kind of books nobody is searching for because nobody remembered they even existed. Some of my favourite books came from charity shops. Some of my favourite videos started because of something I found in a charity shop. But lately, something feels kind of broken. And after watching a few videos by Pink Peach Finds, who I will tag in this video, she sent me down a rabbit hole. And I realised I wasn't the only person noticing it. Because what used to feel like a treasure hunt increasingly feels like walking into a shop where somebody has already taken the genie and the lamp. So, I'm going to be real. I tried to script this video. It failed. I apologise if it seems a little bit strange, but all of what you're about to hear is completely unscripted. So, have fun deciphering me. The thing is, I don't want to rant about prices. Well, I do want to rant about prices. But also, I'm a booktuber. Obviously, I'm going to talk about books. Books are the first thing I really look at every single time. I don't care where they are. Bookstores, charity shops, library sales, tiny secondhand bookstores that have basements, usually ran by a man who's worn the same keeper for 40 years on his head. If there are books, I'm looking. And over the last couple of years, I've noticed some very weird pricing. I've seen paperbacks that are literally disintegrating for like £5. I've seen hardbacks for £6-7, sometimes more. And you sit there doing the math, and I'm going to be real here. Because just say the second-hand book is £7. Amazon has it for $7.99. Then Amazon has it for $8.99, and a local bookstore has it for $9.99, or sometimes even cheaper than the second-hand price. Why am I buying a damaged copy for a new price? Simple. I used to buy them to save money. But that answer isn't true anymore. And then there's children's books. And I've picked up on this as well. Is that I remember when children's books were like 50p. And there are a few places that are now charging £5 for a children's board book with Barney on the cover. Or Paw Patrol. Also, The Works is a British discount bookstore. I always forget that one exists. You can get some good deals in there that are often cheaper than the second-hand shops. So, when you look at the kids' books, where you can buy, like, The Works will have them for sale for, like, 4 for £1 or 4 for £5 or something. Or 50p. That was pocket change. That's being real. I think the whole point with charity shops was, and I hate using this word, accessibility. A lot of bargains. A lot of stuff. And that's me being really honest. And I think we've kind of forgotten that. And then there's the donation issue. I know people who have donated books and been told they aren't taking them. But that's really sounds bizarre when you realise that but you have 27 boxes of iPhone 5 covers that are brand new and crappy glasses that won't survive a dishwasher, or new gift items that will end up being donated back. Or you look at the books they've got out and it's like outdated diet books from 1985, celebrity autobiographies, including one where they were charging £6 for Fabio's, and if you're old enough to know who Fabio is, I'm sorry. I have ibuprofen. I'm sorry about the back pain. Or those random outdated business books from like 2007 explaining how to use Twitter. But what I've noticed isn't the pricing. And I do think charity shops are pricing themselves out the market massively. It was realising how much filtering happens before customers walk through the door. I've talked to former volunteers, former managers, former paid staff, people who've worked in charity shops in different guises over the years. Now, don't get me wrong. I get it. Volunteers, first dibs, maybe a bit of a discount, stuff like that. But there is a but. You guys work hard. If you get a discount, good for you. But it's not even that a lot of the time. It's the good stuff kind of gets spotted immediately. Staff see it. Volunteers see it. Dealers come in. Collectors. Even certain customers who know the right people. And increasingly, charities themselves know exactly what they have. Years ago, charity shops were in Aladdin's cave. Nobody knew what was coming through that door. You'd find first editions sitting next to gardening books, rare books mixed with rare records and CDs and albums mixed with the hits of Christmas. Nobody had checked, nobody had Googled it. Now I get it, charities need to make money. They do. But there comes a point where there's making money and everything getting priced against eBay. And I think that's a lot of shops make that mistake. They print the price and they'll literally, I've been in shops and they print off an eBay listing. Not what something's sold for. Not what someone actually paid, just an eBay listing. Suddenly this item worth £10 becomes £20 because somebody on eBay is asking $20 for it or more. I've literally stood there with my phone and found stuff, books and stuff like that listed cheaper, buy it now, than the charity shop price, which feels completely backwards. The entire reason people shop secondhand is because they expect a discount. That's the trade-off. You might get something a little bit worn. You might get a cover that's a little damaged. You're saving money. If you're not saving, well, that equation stops working. And books aren't the only example. I've seen Primark clothes in charity shops that are well washed, priced higher than Primark. Think about that. The cheapest new clothes on the British high street are more expensive secondhand than new. At that point, what the hell? Like, I'm sorry, but this t-shirt that's £3 in Primark is being sold for £5. And it's been worn and washed, and you can tell. And as someone who used to buy a lot of stuff secondhand, I've noticed the clothing sections have deteriorated massively. And then you have the boxes of dead stock. Phone, tablet, cover things. Oh, here's a cover for an iPhone 4. I literally walked in Sue Ryder in another town and there was 2 boxes of iPhone covers for iPhone 4 and 5. Seriously. And having talked to the staff, those had been there for weeks. No one had bought a single one. So they're either going to end up, most likely, in landfill. That's where they end up. I'm pretty sure there are devices, covers, I've seen devices, you see them and it's like, well, these haven't existed since David Cameron was Prime Minister, and we all know what a failure that was. Nobody is buying tablet cases and phone cases designed for things that probably don't even work now. And they sit there, taking up space, and usually end up in landfill. Meanwhile, the genuinely interesting donations are often gone before anyone sees them. And that's the bit I find a bit sad, because that excitement was never really about saving money, not entirely. The excitement was discovering something. You never knew what you would find. Every shop felt different. Every visit felt different. I've also noticed a lot of the charity shops in my town have the same stock for weeks. the same stuff. And I've noticed this in other places. We were talking about it on Facebook, and I'm in a Facebook group. Like, there's a problem here. And I remember walking out with a pound DVD, a forgotten fantasy novel, and a mug that I'm currently drinking coffee out of that is shaped like a platypus. Yes, I have a platypus mug. Now a lot of charity shops just feel curated. And I don't mean by design, I mean just that through layers of filtering. The best items go online, the rare items go online, the collector's items go online. Please ignore my lisp, I'm tired. The desirable items often disappear before even customers see them. What's left is increasingly expensive, increasingly predictable, and increasingly difficult to get excited about. The irony is that some of my best book finds these days don't come from charity shops. I've spent many hours rooting through random secondhand bookshops and places in my life, and more recently I've been doing that more. I talked about it in a previous video where I spent hours going through this basement of a Jewish bookstore, and I found some beautiful things that are worth money, but they're things that I'm not selling, they're things I'm keeping. But they were super cheap. You know, and the guy who runs it, who's probably worn the same yarmulke for the past 25 years, is making you a coffee and bringing you a slice of cake. They're the kind of shops where the person that runs it knows exactly where the books are, even if the stacks probably violate God knows how many health and safety regulations. I mean, they often appear like complete chaos, but those places feel like a treasure hunt. I've been in antique stores and vintage stores that are selling items cheaper than the charity shops. Seriously. I went in a very well-known vintage shop, not far from me, and all I can say is I picked up a really nice jacket. Really nice. And you know what? I've seen that same jacket in terrible condition for 50, 60 quid in some charity shops. And it's frustrating. The treasure hunt seems to be over. And, you know, I kind of look at it and I think what I miss the most. That feeling that something on a shelf might be a book or something that you've never heard of, and that changes. That you find some amazing stuff, and I don't know if charity shops will ever get that feeling back. I do think internet pricing killed it. I do think some high street pricing of secondhand media killed it. But the internet caused a lot of problems, and now we're in a situation where these shops are closing down. Like I said, I think they're pricing themselves out the market. I've always thought that, just by everything that I've seen and witnessed. And maybe we've all become too good at knowing what things are worth, but I do know this. If I can buy a brand new copy cheaper than a second-hand copy, something has gone terribly wrong. And judging by some of the conversations I've been seeing and having lately, I'm definitely not the only person that's noticed it. So I'm curious. So, is this happening where you live? Whether you're in the UK, America, Canada, Australia, whatever. How are your op shops, charity shops, and thrift stores? What are they charging? Or am I becoming some old guy on the internet muttering about how things used to be when paperbacks were 50p? So, I'm going to leave this here. I want to know what you think, genuinely. And if you want to join the conversation, like, subscribe, tell me what you think in the comments below. And if you want to go deeper into the conversation and explore some stuff, podcasts, exclusive content, and early access, membership and channel membership Patreon stuff is available. All the links, everything you need are in the description.